Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Tesla Time News.
Episode 205.
On Now You Know.
Brought to you, as always, by our Patreon patrons. We can't do this show without the support of our patrons because that's just not the way that YouTube works. We don't make the kind of content that gets a billion views because we don't make dumb content. We make smart content. Unfortunately, there's not that many smart people in the world. But the good news is they help support us on Patreon. So head on over to Patreon. You can support us for as little as $1 a month and get access to the Patreon bonus stories every week.
And you can also help the show by going to ecoware.us and checking out our new designs uploaded every week where we carbon offset the manufacturer, shipping, and life cycle of your purchase. And we plant a tree for every order. Hey, remember how I coated Sparky in Avalon King's armor shield?
Well, you didn't coat the whole car. It's something that probably no other Tesla owner has done. So you covered half of your car with Armor Shield, and then you just decided you'd go park it under a pine tree.
Yeah, I wanted to see how well Armor Shield's ceramic coat nanotechnology would work.
And how did it work?
See for yourself. So it's been about a month since we applied the Armor Shield, and I'm pretty impressed here by the fact that it's still really here. You can see it's a thing. Look, it's hydrophobic on this side. It's just regular on this side. And when we went to clean it, it's so much easier on the right. So I'm really pleased with how Armor Shield is holding up. It makes cleaning so much easier.
Yeah, and it's been weeks.
Yeah.
So use the link in our show notes below and the coupon code NYK25 to get $25 off Armor Shield by Avalon King.
All right, so Tesla just released another over-the-air update, 2020.32.1, which has several cool new features. Let's check them out.
So the first one is Powerwall coordination.
Yeah, Tesla says your car coordinates with Powerwall for enhanced charging during a power outage without exceeding the energy and power capabilities of your Powerwall system. Powerwall continuously responds to the changing power needs of your home and will slow or stop your car's charging, keeping your home loads powered. During a power outage, your car will charge from the Powerwall whenever it is above the threshold set in the Tesla mobile app. You can change this threshold to balance your home and transportation energy needs, putting you in full control of your energy ecosystem. Powerwall can also use surplus solar to charge your vehicle during an outage if you keep your car plugged in while the sun is shining.
So this is really smart. You're taking two very smart things that you have bought from Tesla, the Powerwall and the solar and your car, and you get them all talking to each other and responding in the way that you want to do it. So, you might live in a place where if there's a power outage, luckily you'll have the Powerwall, so that might mean that you could stay. But let's say you wanted to leave. You want to actually charge your car using the power from the Powerwall, so you can tell it, just drain the battery, put it all into my car, I'm going to grandma's house.
Exactly. So here's the second feature that was added, Tesla suspension control and visualization. We have simplified the Tesla suspension control logic to better support both temporary and more permanent heights. If ride height is manually adjusted to high or very high, your car now automatically lowers after you drive a short distance. For snowy or off-road conditions, tap Keep next to the ride height slider to keep the height at high or very high until you reach the maximum allowed speed. For steep driveways or places where you repeatedly need a higher ride height, tap Always Auto Raise at this location. This feature will raise suspension to the saved height when re-entering the location. There's also this really cool feature, visualizations. You can now see a real-time visualization of how the suspension system is dynamically adjusting each wheel's damping to account for changing road conditions. Tap Show Suspension Data to get even more real-time information.
This is pretty comprehensive, pretty cool. So
yeah, I want to point out, though, it's only for the Model S and X that have the updated smart suspension, so that's the Raven models.
Okay.
So Sparky doesn't have it.
It's not for everybody, but I think, moving forward, this is great for all new cars and newer-ish cars.
And I bet you this feature was developed for people in snowy conditions like Norway and Canada.
Right, because originally, when you would raise or lower your car, it would remember that, and it would say that, this location will be remembered without you telling it to do that, which meant that if you arrived home one day and it had snowed and you're like, oh, we didn't snowblow the driveway, what are we going to do? Oh, I'll raise up the car and drive it in. But then every time you came back to your driveway, it would raise up and you'd be like, why is it doing this? It's summer. This is a great little solution to that problem.
The next one is car left open notifications. A mobile notification will be sent if the trunk, the front trunk, or any door is left open for over 10 minutes. If all doors and trunks are locked, a notification will be sent if any window is detected to be open 10 minutes after leaving the car. To adjust which notification gets sent, tap Controls, Vehicle, Car Left Open Notifications, and notifications will not be sent when the car is at home if Exclude Home is selected.
So this is, again, something that I don't think any other car has that I know of. Maybe there's some $1 million, car that you can buy that would tell you this. The other cool thing is that you can roll up your windows from your app.
Wait, so it automatically rolls up your windows for you?
Well, no, you can roll up the windows from your app. Say, say it's a day where you want to, have the windows cracked a little bit because it's super hot out, or for whatever, you have a surfboard going through I don't know what you guys do with your cars. You can decide whether you want the windows to roll up or not, but you don't have to, oh, I'm sorry, guys, I've got to leave the meeting. I have to go roll up my windows. It's going to rain. You don't have to do that. You can just, from your app, literally press the button and it'll roll up your window.
Here's another cool feature, dynamic brake lights. If you're driving over 50 kilometers an hour or 31 miles an hour and brake forcefully, the brake lights will now flash quickly to warn other drivers that your car is rapidly slowing down. If your car stops completely, the hazard warning lights will flash until you press the accelerator or manually press the hazard warning lights button to turn them off.
So this is for, you're driving on the highway and there's that big slowdown over the crest of the hill that no one sees coming.
Beep, beep, beep,
right.
Beep, beep.
This could really save some lives, I think,
yeah.
this update. And again, it's a computer on wheels. You can just program it to do whatever you want.
Yeah. Also, there are supercharger improvements for the Model S and X. It says your car is now able to charge at version 3 superchargers at up to 250 kilowatt peak rates. And as usual, when you navigate to superchargers, your car will condition its battery during the drive so it can charge faster. Oh, and did I mention, for the Model 3 and Y, there's a new feature called Close Windows on Lock. Your car can now automatically roll up your windows when it is locked. To enable the setting, tap Controls, Locks, Close Windows on Lock.
Cool.
Just a little feature to make everyone's life a little better.
Right. And the best part is it's an option. So if you live in a place where you're like, I leave my windows down all the time, then you don't need to worry about it. But if you live in a city and you're like, I should basically never leave my car parked without the windows being rolled up, you don't have to worry about it now.
Some new Model Y owners have taken delivery of their cars, and guess what?
What?
They've noticed that Tesla has made a major physical improvement to the Model Y.
Oh, so this is not the software improvements that we were just talking about. This is actual physical change.
Hardware, dude.
Wow. So maybe is it, what could it be?
Think big.
Okay.
It's a major improvement. People have been clamoring for this.
Oh, it's a center binnacle.
Nope.
Oh,
bigger.
Oh, bigger.
Yeah.
Wings?
Nope. Super important.
Super important.
Yep.
Armor?
Nope.
Glass?
They've updated the door button to have this new graphic.
Well, you said it was a big change.
Oh, it's huge. People have been clamoring for this for years, practically. As soon as the Model 3 came out, they're like, how do I get out of the car? How do I open the door?
Well, yeah, it's a fair thing. I mean, it's not the most, I would say...
Look, there's going to be a lot of Model Y owners who got their cars before this change who are going to be really upset because now they don't have this.
Right. You can't just print out a sticker.
No.
Right. Look, I think that it is one of those things where as a designer, you probably were like, people probably figure this out. And most people do. But not everybody figures it out. They kind of go like, oh, I'm stuck in the car. How do I, where's the thing I need to pull? And if you're in the front seat, you have the latch. Because now this is slightly worrisome because it unlatches the door at the exact same moment that the window slides down.
Right.
If you press the button on the door, the window slides down first and then the door opens.
So when you pull it manually, if you opened it at that exact same second, the window hasn't pulled down yet, and so you could get it caught.
Yeah, it's not always going to be the end of the world, but you could damage your car. Worst case, you could break your window. This is for if you have a really big guy in your front seat who's ready to get out of the car and he pulls the thing and pushes on the door first second he possibly can. There's a possibility that they could break the window.
But now he's going to read that infographic and he's going to know what to do.
If it saves 20% of people from that hassle, Great. So this year, Tesla ranked lowest on the J.D. Power less than 90-day initial quality study.
Oh my gosh.
But on the study done by 12365 Auto, which is a Chinese company.
That's why I haven't heard of it.
Tesla was at the top of the list for quality.
That's just because they're comparing it to other Chinese cars. That's not...
Okay.
What does that mean?
I mean, you bring up a fair point. There have been many cases where non-Chinese car companies will sell inferior products to the Chinese market, most notably the Volkswagen Passat, which has been renamed the Coffin in Chinese for its horrifying crash tests, especially compared to the non-Chinese versions.
Yeah, so there you have it. Proves my point. Chinese cars suck. Tesla makes the same Model 3, but in both places, and people like it better.
Okay, but you have to look at the data here. The Model 3 got 250 problems per 100 vehicles tested by J.D. Power, but only got 0.7 complaints per 10,000 cars reported by 12365 Auto, which, to compare on the same terms, means that 2.5 problems per car compared to 0.00007, or a 35,000 times difference.
Wait, what's the deal? How could one have so many problems and the other none?
Well, I think that they're not really reporting on the same things. So if we look at the averages of the two studies, we'll see that the US study done by J.D. Power shows that the average is 166 problems per 100 cars, whereas in China, the average was about 18 per 10,000, a 900 times difference.
So this is like two different studies looking at two completely different things. So why are we even talking about this?
Well, we know that J.D. Power covers mostly cosmetic details and less mechanical problems, and that's mostly because it's done within the first 90 days. You don't expect too many mechanical problems.
True.
I think that the Chinese study probably points to more mechanical and other what I would consider real issues that you would probably have to take your car to the repair shop for.
Oh, because J.D. Power is just a survey. You can fill it out online and just complain all you want. Whereas in the real world, if you have a problem that's big enough to bring it to the repair center, that's actually like taking a day off from work and going down there. It has to be a pretty big deal before you bring it in.
These would be actual complaints where you would actually, you're not getting reached out to by anyone who's like, so what do you think about the car? You're actually going like, hey, my car sucks. What the heck? And that, I really think, is a much more useful thing than this J.D. Power thing where it's like, well, there were a couple spots on my car and I'm not an expert, but I didn't think that it looked too good.
No.
Right? Completely different than I drove my car and the wheels fell off. Completely different. And so I think that some, media outlets took this to mean that like Tesla's just making the most amazing cars in China, and you would just not believe the level of quality and detail that they did in China. If only we could buy those cars. I don't think it's like that. I think that they're making the same car in both places. It's just that we are not comparing them apples to apples.
So in New York City, as of July 28th, Revel has shut down operations until further notice because of two recent deaths of riders on Revel scooters. Both were apparently not wearing helmets.
Our buddies Peter and Will Anderson in New York City are going to tell us about Revel electric scooter rentals.
Hey Zach and Jesse, this is Peter Anderson. I'm here with my brother Will, and we're here to review the Revel scooter. They're all electric, and all you need to do is download the app and go. The first thing you need to do is download the Revel app. This allows you to upload your driver's license and your credit card to get started. And then you watch a 3-minute how-to video, and then you're ready to go. They unlock it, you go in the back, and you get out the helmet. Press this red button, this opens right up, and they come with these hair nets. Now we're ready to ride. Well, maybe it is a little bit more complicated than a regular scooter. It's got a horn, it's got a right and left turn signal, it also has headlights, it has a throttle control where you can put a safety on so you can lock the throttle. It's also got an awesome holder here for your phone. So you can see I have the app. It's got side mirrors on either side. It's got a brake, both front and back brake. And And I like this little feature here. It's got a little compartment down here where you can put your wallet, your keys, and anything else you might have. I rented the bike last night for 45 minutes and it cost $19. That's it. So all you need to do is put up the kickstand, turn on the throttle, and off you go. When you're done riding, you park it in a legal spot and just click on your app and ride. It turns off the bike, you walk away, and that's it.
I love it. And by the way, if you love jazz and swing music, you have to visit the Anderson Brothers YouTube channel for fantastic content. Thanks, guys.
So a major auto CEO has stepped down.
What?
What?
When did it? What? How can this can't happen?
What are you talking about? Don't. It's okay.
Oh my God.
What?
It's over. His vision. What are we going to do without his vision?
I think they'll be fine.
The stock. Oh my God, the stock.
No,
I'm gonna have to call my broker. This is it's gonna crash.
No. The stock has so far been handling it
I mean,
fine.
we had such momentum going on. I mean, and now it's just
Are you kidding me?
It's over.
Are we talking about the same person?
Yeah, Elon Musk.
No.
You just said a major automaker's CEO stepped down.
Right, Jim.
It's the biggest automaker there is.
No. Jim Hackett of Ford.
Who?
Jim Hackett, the CEO of Ford. He's going to be stepping down in October. The announcement was on Tuesday, and the stock did nothing. Stock didn't do much, really, on that news. I kind of would have assumed something.
I'm so relieved right now, actually.
Oh, that's great. And so, yeah, he'll be stepping down on October 1st and being replaced by COO Jim Farley.
Chris Farley? This Chris Farley?
No. Jim Farley.
Oh, good.
Jim Farley from Ford.
Because Chris Farley's dead, so that would have been hard.
That would have been pretty difficult.
Yeah. So why is he stepping down?
So in the last quarter, Ford lost $1.9 billion pre-tax, or 35 cents per share, and Ford burned through about $5.3 billion.
Wow.
So Ford was not doing too well. They thought, this is a good time for a leadership change. Jim Hackett was supposed to be the guy who was going to shrink down Ford, make it a profitable little company.
Yeah.
And they certainly slashed a bunch of things, but they didn't do a lot of creating a bunch of things.
This is exactly why I'm glad that Tesla is controlled by Elon Musk. Why, he has 20% plus of the stock. Mm-hmm. And so even if he has a bad tweet storm week and everyone's like, we call for his head, he's not going to be leaving. Because, you have a bad quarter. If you have a great CEO, you shouldn't just cancel your CEO because of a bad quarter. Now, I don't know if Ford had a great CEO or not. I'm not going to comment, but I'm just relieved that it wasn't the CEO I thought you were talking about.
Right. So aside from that announcement on Tuesday, something else happened. Something, actually, I would argue that was pretty good.
Oh, yeah? What happened?
SpaceX completed the first full-scale Starship test hop.
Wait, we've seen a test hop before, right?
Exactly. You might remember the Starhopper test from last year, and then you might remember a bunch of many explosive pressure tests of the various Starship vehicles as they were trying to build them out in the middle of the dunes in Boca Chica. But after many explosive tests, we get this.
Now, why doesn't this look like Starship? It looks like a grain silo.
Right. Well, it's an early prototype of Starship, but it is, in fact, full-scale sized Starship. It just doesn't have the fins that it's eventually going to have, and it didn't have like the nose cone or any, place where the people lived, because it might have blown up and you wouldn't want to like fill it with seats and airlocks and screens and, joysticks if it's just going to blow up.
It's so cool to watch it, how that one engine is gimbaling and controlling it so that it can take off and land.
Right.
So Pranay said, what's next, Elon? A 20-kilometer hop? And Elon said, we'll do several short hops to smooth out the launch process, then go high altitude with body flaps. Then Eric asked, when will you do a hop and a relight, i.e. land and take off again? Elon said, soon. And then Elon kept tweeting out things like, Mars is looking real and progress is accelerating. This is super exciting.
Yeah. Now, I kind of want to commemorate this launch, this little hop, with like a T-shirt.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, I want to have like the little grain silo that could, or Elon and Sons Silo Moving Company. Put down in the comments down below, like what kind of T-shirt design you'd want to kind of remember this by, and kind of funny, kind of tongue-in-cheek, like something.
Yeah.
I want something that you could wear, and then people would be like, what the heck are you, why is that grain silo flying? And then you can explain it to people, because people don't, for some reason, hear about this, even though this got over 5 million views in like 2 days. People are still just like, what? SpaceX? They launched a what into space? A car?
Yeah, and speaking of SpaceX, SpaceX and ULA were just awarded military satellite launch contracts totaling over $600 million. And that's just for 3 initial launches. This deal should be much bigger over time. And then Blue Origin, which is Jeff Bezos' company, and Northrop Grumman, well, they got passed over. The company Sun Cable is proposing a massive solar array of 10 gigawatts, battery storage facilities of up to 30 gigawatt hours in the Barkly region of Australia's Northern Territory.
The Australian government has assigned major project status, which is Australia's equivalent for a thumbs up, to a proposed $22 billion plan to build the world's biggest solar farm. This will be 12,000 hectares in size, which is equivalent to 30,000 acres.
So, can you stop for a second? 30,000 acres? I mean, I know that's big. I just can't picture how big it is. Like,
that is about 1.5 Manhattans of solar panels.
oh my gosh, really?
Yeah. And the power is going to be stored in a 30 gigawatt hour battery, touted to be the world's biggest. And this would create 1,500 jobs for construction and 350 ongoing jobs when built.
Wait, I'm sorry. There's more people in Glendale, Arizona than all of the Northern Territory of Australia. So what are they doing with all that power? Like lightsaber jousting?
Actually, the project is going to be sending electricity through a 3,700 kilometer long undersea cable to Singapore to meet up to 20% of Singapore's demand for power.
What?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, have you ever seen when like someone gets their power shut off and then there's like an extension cord coming from their neighbor's house running in through the window? It's kind of like that, except the extension cord is 3,700 kilometers long.
Wow, I didn't even know you could run. I mean, I knew there was undersea cables, but I didn't know you could go that. But like, it must be a massive cable.
Yeah. And it's going to take a while. So by the end of 2027, they're going to be able to export approximately 2 billion Australian dollars of solar energy per year to Singapore.
Wow. Why didn't they just build the solar panels in Singapore?
Singapore is a city-state. Remember the city-states you used to learn about?
It's like tinier than Manhattan, practically.
It's a very small country. So, I mean, this is one way for Singapore to get power. And you got to keep in mind what Singapore is surrounded by. Lot of very jungly islands, not big old deserts of nothing.
Well, if you'd like to provide your own power and don't want to have to run an extension cord to your neighbor's house, call the guys at Energy Pal. They are energy geeks that help homeowners go solar for less. We've had dozens of our viewers contact them because here's the cool part. They talk to you and answer your questions without any pressure, and there's no sales pitch, and in fact, you don't pay them.
Right. They're not the solar company. They help you find the solar company that is going to get you the best price, the best system for you.
And then they're paid by the solar installer. So it costs you nothing, and they answer all your questions, because that's honestly the hardest part of solar, I think, is finding out what's the best option for you and will it work for you. And right now, they're also offering Powerwalls.
So definitely go check out their link in the description below.
So new research being done at MIT is finding ways to recycle a type of plastic that until now wasn't recyclable. It's called thermosets. So Jesse, you studied plastics in college. Can you explain what thermosets are and why they're some of the toughest plastics around?
Yeah, so they're used in products that have to be particularly durable and heat resistant. Think car tires, right?
Okay.
Vulcanized rubber is a really good example of a thermoset. There are many other different types, so you'll see them in kitchen utensils, but all of their great properties of durability and heat resistance makes them very hard to break down and recycle. And so one amazing thing that I learned in college was that if you're looking at a car tire, you are looking at one single molecule of rubber. So, everyone is like, oh, molecules, they're such little things. Some molecules are so small that you can't see. Others are car tires.
Wait, so the figure on the left there is a regular plastic?
Yeah, so that would be, a regular thermoplastic, something that you can melt, inject into a mold, and then freeze, and then you have it like this, and then you could melt it down again. You could, oh, great, I'll take this, chop it all up, melt it down, turn it into something else. It's a great way to recycle things that are made out of plastic, but you can't do that with thermosets because they don't melt anymore because they are now one solid molecule.
So this research at MIT suggests that there is a new way to make the chemical bonds that hold these thermosets together?
Yeah, their study suggests that by changing the way the thermosets are made, by adjusting the mixture and adding a particular type of building block or monomer called silyl ethers, we could keep the original strength, but also make them able to be broken down and recycled. So you can kind of think of this as being like a little backdoor key to unlock the molecule and break it down.
So chemist Jeremiah Johnson at MIT said that new material has nearly indistinguishable and in some ways improved mechanical properties compared to the original material, showing that you can take the degradation products and make the same thermoset again using the same process is exciting. Yeah, so these thermosets include all sorts of things that you're used to, like epoxies, phenolics, polyesters, silicones. They make up a huge percentage of the plastics that are produced every year, some estimates as high as 25%. So this is a big deal, right? Because up until now, you can take your plastic bottle and throw it in your recycle bin and hope that it gets recycled, but you can't take your car parts or your tire and hope that it gets recycled. In fact, you were talking about tires before, and I've learned that, yeah, you're right. They generally, if you do recycle a tire, what they do is they chop it into little pieces, and then that's what they use like on those new ball fields where it's all, plastic grass, and they throw the little bits of ripped up tire down as pretend dirt.
Right. And it's great. Oh, it's soft. You can land on it, get tackled, you'll be okay. But they get extremely hot. They're carcinogenic, and they get everywhere. Like, instead of just, coming home and being like, oh, I'm covered in dirt. I'll put it in the washing machine. Now you're covered in these little pieces of non-breakdownable plastic pellets.
Yeah, I've seen studies that show that goalies, soccer goalies, have some of the highest rates of cancer because they're the ones in the dirt most of the time.
Right. So this is really exciting that we don't have to, take car tires and either burn them or chop them up to recycle them. We could actually kind of melt them down and turn them back into car tires.
I hope this works.
Yeah.
So let's give some Gigafactory updates.
First, we've got some footage from our friend Jeff Roberts down in Texas.
Definitely go to his YouTube channel for some fantastic drone shots of the Austin construction site. Now, as you can see in Jeff's opening montage, the site has been transformed from a hilly, swampy site to a flat site by an army of trucks in just 18 days so far.
And I wonder when we'll start to see the first concrete footings go in.
Now let's hop on over to Berlin, where we've got footage of Giga Berlin from the Wolfpack Berlin YouTube channel.
And wow, look at the progress there. You can see the modular concrete building construction taking place. I love their little map in the lower left-hand corner to show you where you are on the site. And it looks like the steel is going up pre-powder coated so that they don't have to send in painters afterwards.
Yeah, remember in Giga Shanghai, they would put in the steel that was just primed, and then you'd have an army of workers that had to paint it all.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing the different ways buildings get built in different places depending on, soil conditions and availability of labor and stuff like that.
I'm just so excited that we can be seeing updates on all these gigafactories around the world and almost in real time because we have folks out there filming drone footage of it.
Yeah, so definitely go check out their YouTube channels and support them on Patreon.
Now, according to Electrek, Tesla has built a new subframe assembly line for the Model Y at Fremont under a sprung tent structure, along with a second parallel general assembly line.
This appears to have been built during the forced COVID shutdown in the spring. Now, these two lines should increase production possibly as soon as this quarter.
Now, as of last quarter, Tesla had a stated annual production capacity at Fremont of 400,000 Model 3s and Model Ys. This could increase that to 500,000 per year. Tesla Time News is sponsored by Cybertruck Owners Club. There you'll find a crowdsourced reservation tracker that you can update and find your place in line.
Check their website for Cybertruck news, discussions, and community for Cybertruck enthusiasts and future owners.
And they have a 3D configurator allowing you to visualize the Cybertruck in any color, wrap, and logo, both on screen and in augmented reality.
So Tesla just started offering leases for the Model Y and Model 3.
They've been doing that for a while.
In Canada.
Oh.
Previously, they were only offering leases in Canada for the Model S and X. Leases start at $474 Canadian for the Model 3 and $724 Canadian for the Model Y, both with $5,250 down.
The terms are 48 months with 16,000 kilometers per year. Now, in other Canadian news, Tesla is urging its Canadian customers to lobby for charging by the kilowatt hour versus by the minute.
As Tesla argues in its email to consumers, billing customers to pay by the minute is not transparent. You don't know what you're getting for that minute of charging, whereas billing by the kilowatt hour, you know exactly how much energy you got. As the email points out,
with time-based billing, consumers run the risk of paying more to charge their EV one day compared to the next. Battery state of charge and temperature are just two of the factors that can affect charging speeds and thus cost, regardless of the amount of electricity delivered. For example, as an EV driver, you pay a certain amount to charge your vehicle for 30 minutes on a fast level 3 charger. If that 30-minute charging session is in the winter, you'll be paying the same amount, but you'll likely get less electricity for your money, since cold temperatures affect charging speeds. This is just one of the many scenarios in which the dollar per minute billing hurts you as a customer. Join us in urging Measurement Canada to temporarily pause the current rules while they work toward developing new long-term EV charging metering standards.
I think that kilowatt hour billing is way more fair than time-based billing, but we have to understand the history of it. Time-based billing was put in place when you had a very limited number of chargers and you wanted people to just stop charging, go away, so that someone else can come in. But Tesla doesn't have this problem for the most part because their supercharger network has enough capacity at the moment to really handle most situations. Now, I do say most because there are some places that are extraordinarily crowded, and Tesla probably either shouldn't have put in a Tesla supercharger there or they should have put in some crazy giant
Do you remember when the Model 3 was about to come out and everyone's like, Tesla's in trouble.
Right.
Their network's not going to be able to handle it.
Right. And
it did.
Right. I think that it's really great that Tesla is actually pushing for something that really wouldn't benefit them too much, like as a charging network. It does benefit them, I would argue, as a car company, because I would argue that this is a very important step into making electric cars a real thing, as opposed to living in La La Land where you're paying like, oh, how long was I charging? That's how much money I'm going to be paying. It's how much electricity did I get? How much, the miles. You don't go to the gas station and you say, fill her up. And the guy, takes out his stopwatch and is like, all right, that was 45 seconds, so you owe me $45. And you go, what? Your pump's really slow. I didn't get any gas. Well, that's just the way it is. It's cold today, so the pump wasn't too efficient. That's not how it works. So I really applaud Tesla for doing the right thing here.
So Cadillac revealed its new luxury electric crossover last Thursday, the Lyriq. And by reveal, I mean photos.
The only specs we got were estimates.
Yeah, a target of 300 plus miles of range for both the rear-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive versions.
A 19 kilowatt level 2 charging option.
And the Lyriq will start production in China in 2021 and not be available in the US until late 2022. Now, there is going to be DC fast charging of up to 150 kilowatts. There will be Super Cruise with automated lane changes and remote parking. A dual plane augmented reality heads-up display.
Which I don't know what that means.
It's cool sounding.
It does sound cool. And a 33-inch advanced LED screen.
Yeah, look at that.
And it'll have new road noise cancel technology.
That's awesome.
And apparently the Lyriq will recognize and greet the driver with a complex, choreographed sequence of headlights.
That's what I've always felt Teslas were missing.
Exactly. And the price is... we don't know what the price is. So...
yeah, and only about 80% of the features are locked down. Basically, this is still major conceptville here.
Which features were locked down?
The 80% of them.
Well, no, but like which ones? Like the Super Cruise, the 33-inch screen?
We don't know which ones are locked down.
Oh, okay. And on the Cadillac website, it says, images display show car, not for sale. Some features may not be available on actual production vehicle. So
yeah,
we don't know very much about the car, but it will be an electric car.
Yep.
You can count on that.
Maybe.
Possibly. 80% sure.
So we've been reporting on the Boring Company's Las Vegas Convention Center project, which is under construction as we speak, connecting the entire Las Vegas Convention Center campus with 2 tunnels to move people in Tesla vehicle.
We also reported in June on plans to extend the tunnel to 2 resorts nearby.
Now, Scott Sybil, the president of Resorts World Las Vegas, announced, "We are thrilled to receive approval from the Clark County Commission."
Okay, no. That's not very Las Vegas-y.
Oh, sorry.
That's not how he
Yes.
said it because he's
Sorry.
from Las Vegas.
We're thrilled to receive approval from the Clark County Commission to move forward with our proposed passenger station and tunnel, and are eager to take the next steps in creating an innovative transportation solution for our convention guests and visitors.
Bravo.
Thank you. I'm here every Saturday night. Please tip your waitresses. Resorts World says that the Boring Company Loop will be able to transport people from the Las Vegas Convention Center to the resort in a Tesla in just 2 minutes.
They're planning to open in the summer of 2021.
And Elon tweeted out, "This is gonna be great."
So Tesla announced on Weibo last week that they are now offering to wrap cars.
So they're gonna put like wrapping paper and bows on them?
No. The post says, Tesla is more and more common on the road, and it's getting easier to recognize the wrong car at the charging station. How to make your Tesla different and stand out. Now, the Tesla Delivery Center has launched the Color Changed Car Wrap product, which can make the vehicle cool. The first batch of online cities, Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Suzhou, and other cities will be launched in mid-August. Many available colors. Please contact your local delivery or service center.
Wow, so Tesla's gonna do that.
Tesla is going to be wrapping cars in China. Now, this is really, 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 really smart.
Yeah, it is.
Because-
it solves a lot of problems.
Yes.
First of all, everyone probably now wants their car to be purple ever since Game for Peace came out.
Yes.
Secondly, if you're worried at all about getting your car dinged up and stuff on the roads, because I bet, Chinese roads probably have a lot of gravel and stuff like that, you get it wrapped, you're protecting it while making it look cool.
Right. I think that it is more to do with the color and the stuff like that. It's, China is a completely different place in terms of culture. I think that, status is very important, and Tesla completely understands this. Whoever is running Tesla in China really has a great handle on the Chinese market.
Yeah.
What other car company is doing this in China? I think that it's a perfect fit for China especially, though.
So Audi was experiencing a slow start in the U.S. with their sales of the Audi E-Tron, so they announced that they are lowering the base price of the Audi E-Tron in the U.S. by almost $9,000.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, that means that the Audi in the U.S. is now starting at $65,900 before incentives, and since Audi still qualifies for the $7,500 tax credit, that means that the electric SUV will start for just $58,400.
Wow. So that is probably to compete with the Model Y.
And get this, the 2021 e-tron is going to get a range boost of 18 miles for an EPA-rated range of 222 miles now. The sportier version, the e-tron Sportback, will cost about $3,000 more.
That's pretty good. I mean, getting up into the upper 200s, like once you're at 200, that's not so great because, you're not going to use that upper 20% of your battery state of charge. So having 220 miles is good because it means that most days you're going to have around 200, maybe 180. And the price, that's fantastic. I mean, it's great to be able to have that price. And, they're able to take advantage of the tax credit, really bring that price down to somewhat affordable. I'm very pleased.
So last week, a story was going around in many news outlets that Tesla's wiper controls were found to be illegal by a German higher court.
They're illegal. So you can't turn, if you're in Germany, just go out to your car with the big, shears, and you can just cut them right off. They're illegal.
Hang on.
Throw them out.
Before you do that, let's learn about what the case was about. So the case was about a Tesla driver in Germany who crashed into a tree and blamed the windshield wiper controls, saying that he spent so long looking at the controls that he took his eyes off the road and crashed. So the first district court ruled that the driver owed a fine and had a 1-month driving ban. So he appealed it, and he went to the higher regional court, the OLG, and the court judge there basically agreed, saying, and this is translated from German, so it makes absolutely no sense. The touchscreen permanently installed in the vehicle of the Tesla brand is an electronic device within the meaning of Section 23(1)(a), Sentence 1 and 2, STVO, the operation of which the motor vehicle driver is only permitted under the conditions of this regulation. It does not matter which purpose the driver pursues with the operation, and the setting of the functions required to operate the motor vehicle via the touchscreen, here setting the wiper interval of the windshield wipers, is therefore only permitted if this is done with a short street, traffic, visibility, and weather conditions adapted to the view of the screen, while at the same time looking away from the traffic is connected. Okay.
Oh, what? Sorry.
I'm
I
sorry.
was listening. What?
That meant absolutely nothing. So we actually need a real German translator here. And luckily, some of our viewers are from Germany, and they told us about this story. And it basically sounds like most of the major media outlets got it wrong.
Right. So this wasn't a ruling against Tesla. No. And the German courts were saying, your windshield wipers, they are not good. They're kaputt. Get out of here. They were not. That's not the story.
No, they're basically saying that you as the driver are responsible. So if you take your eyes off the road for any reason to adjust any knob, the radio or whatever, and you hit something, that's your fault. Right. And so they basically were saying to the driver, they upheld the lower court's ruling and said, yeah, you still have to pay the fine and you still have your driving ban, which all these media outlets took to mean, oh, well, it's definitely the windshield wiper's fault. So that means it's Tesla. That means it's illegal.
Right. And it's actually kind of the opposite. If this upper court had said, oh, actually, you're right. You shouldn't have to pay the fine because it's actually Tesla's fault.
Right.
Then the story would be true, but it is the complete opposite of that.
And I also want to point out there's 3 ways in a Tesla to adjust your windshield wipers. The first is there's a button on the stock. You just push it and they wipe. Second is you can talk to your Tesla and tell it to wipe.
So you click the button, you say, turn on the windshield wipers. You can even say, set windshield wipers to 3.
Right.
There's a lot of cool things you can tell your Tesla to do.
So 2 out of the 3 methods, you don't have to take your eyes off the road at all. The third method is right over there on the screen. You just swipe and boom, you got it. So no reason to have to take your eyes off the road. Okay, for anyone who's been watching EV news for a while, this is an obvious story. Tesla is the #1 selling EV maker in the world for the first half of 2020.
But according to data from Jose Pontes and the EV sales blog post, Tesla has sold more BEVs globally than the next 3 biggest automakers combined.
Yeah.
Check out this chart.
Yeah, that is really impressive because I think it's easy for us to think that Tesla is just like neck and neck with VW or something.
Or that they're this tiny little car company. And they're fairly small in terms of the number of cars on the road. And for the longest time, everyone was going, oh, but Nissan has sold more Leafs than the Teslas have, right? And that's because Tesla is this exponential growth company. It just ramps right up, blowing past the competition. It used to be Nissan Leaf was like the most sales in the world. That's why Renault and Nissan, top dog, Tesla's blown past them because they have been scaling their production.
So last week, Lordstown Motors announced that they will be going public, doing a reverse merger with Diamond Peak Holdings Corporation, or on the NASDAQ under the symbol DPHC. The deal should net Lordstown $675 million to finance the production of their Endurance all-electric pickup truck.
So this reverse merger thing, like, how when you hear a word sometimes and then you just keep hearing it and you're like, are people just using the word more, or are my ears just attuned to it more?
No, you have been hearing it a lot lately. The Nikola One deal was a SPAC. It was a reverse merger. And so basically, it's kind of a quick and down and dirty way to get your company IPO'd. You can do it the regular way, but it takes a lot longer. Whereas if you already go with a company that's on the exchange, then all they're basically doing is merging in with you. So it just is a quick way to get onto an exchange and basically take advantage of a trend. The trend right now being that everyone seems to want to invest in electric car makers.
Oh, I need to diversify my portfolio into EVs. What are my options? I got FUV. I got Tesla.
Green Power Bus Company. You got Solo, which is the 3-wheeled vehicle as well. Now added to that is going to be Fisker soon, and then Lordstown Motors. So the deal should be completed in the 4th quarter and should be trading under the ticker symbol RIDE on the NASDAQ. Steve Burns, the founder and CEO of Lordstown Motors, claims that they have more than 27,000 reservations or $1.4 billion of potential revenue since he unveiled the truck in June. So this next story about the Bernie Sanders Elon Musk tweet war raging on right now, I was going to talk about it here on the main show, but I've decided to move it to the Patreon bonus stories. So I feel very strongly, and I think I'm going to go into a rant on there, and it's very nuanced. And so let's be honest, it involves politics, which is super polarizing. So I feel really supported by our Patreons, and I feel like I have some very important information to share about the whole situation. So if you'd like to hear more about it, you're welcome to join us on the Patreon bonus stories for as little as $1 a month. There I will be ranting. All right, it's time for our video contributor stories. If you would like to send in a story, make sure that you keep it under 2 minutes, shoot it in landscape, have some really good audio, and don't put any music on there, and maybe you can join us on the show. So who do we got this week, Jess?
We've got Matt with Sunlight Conversions. He has been doing a very cool project.
Zach and Jesse, how you guys doing? I thought I would let you know what's going on with one of my latest projects. I think you might find interesting. I'm here on a private island in the Bahamas. Let me flip this around for you. So this island is entirely disconnected from the mainland. They have to supply all their own power, water. So this building here actually has a 65,000 gallon cistern underneath it. So they collect all their own rainwater. Over here is the solar field, still being rebuilt after Hurricane Dorian totally devastated this place. So when they have all their solar up and running, they'll actually be able to make solar water from salt water, fresh water from salt water. So since they're their own island, they have nothing to do with extra power. So whenever they're producing more than they can use, they're going to turn on their fresh water maker and actually turn salt water into fresh water. Let's take a look in the battery shed. Alright, still a work in progress, so don't mind the cabling. Over here we have 20 kilowatt hours of salvaged Tesla Model S batteries. This guy we've got 15 kilowatt hours of more Model S batteries. And then the really cool part is this guy over here. This whole thing is an entire Model 3 75 kilowatt hour battery pack. So Jack Riggert over at EVTV figured out how to communicate with Tesla's internal BMS. So he makes this guy right here, which is really quite amazing. So he communicates with the BMS, he can turn on the contactors so we can pull power directly out of the battery pack. And we have the power right now going into 2 solar inverters. And then we've got some monitors up here. So right here we've got our 20 kilowatt hour battery pack. So we are netting about 8 kilowatts into the batteries. So that's minus what's actually powering the entire island. Here we are in our own little private lagoon, and that is a giant thunderstorm behind me. And now you know.
Yeah, so that was our buddy Matt who took us out on the solar-powered sailboat, and if you haven't seen that video, you can check it out here. Pretty cool to be building solar-powered stuff on an island in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, it's good to see that because, like, my whole life I'm always like, oh, you live on a private island and it's a paradise. And you kind of get the sense that it's like, it's an island in the ocean. It's not as hoitsy-toitsy as you might imagine, you know? But really cool that it's going to be off-grid. I really think that islands are the ultimate off-grid type of scenario because, you know, why get stuff sent to you when you can just make it all yourself?
Yeah. All right, it's time for our Patreon bonus stories. Head on over there and join us for as little as $1 a month and check out all of our Patreon bonus stories, as well as a whole bunch of other cool perks that we've got there as well. All right, we made it through the Patreon bonus stories. Woo. And it was a little controversial there, a little worrisome for a minute, but we got through it.
There's lots of other stuff on the Patreon bonus stories, so you can skip over that whole rant and watch the other part of the Patreon bonus stories. It's Patreon bonus stories. When we started, it was just one story.
That's right.
And now it's like a whole 45-minute long show.
That's
so
right.
if you can't get enough of this show, you should definitely support us on Patreon and check that one out. And let's thank some of our amazing Patreon patrons with their shout-outs that they have been waiting for a while.
All right, let's do it. First is Adam Vanderburg,
Gintautas Gustas,
Walter Crumbly,
Simon Brown,
Louis L. Mojica,
Michael Palmer,
Michael Jeffrey,
Russell Keith,
Ian Levy,
Julio Cesar Lima Urrutia,
Joel Kursaki,
and Gary McGinnis.
Thank you so much, guys, for supporting us. We really do appreciate it. All right, it's time for Elon's tweets of the week.
Okay, here we go.
Lucas says, smaller version for Europe? Don't want Model Y. I want a Cybertruck. Even just a smaller EU version. And Elon said, highly likely down the road. Viv said, reducing width is more important than reducing length, at least when it comes to cities. Most pickups and delivery vans, etc., are just narrower rather than small in all dimensions. And Elon said, true.
Now, highly likely down the road, are we talking 1 year down the road? Or are we talking 3 or 5 or 15? Like,
a while. They're probably going to get...
He's like, yeah, of course, we'll probably, at some point.
Right. If we need to make it a tad smaller, we will.
Right.
And then Steve Jurvetson said, amazing SpaceX shots of the first test vehicle hop for Starship, the first fully reusable launch system. The radical difference in cost is perhaps best understood with flights on Earth, 30 minutes to fly between continents, at a lower cost than taking an airplane in coach class. Elon said, this seems increasingly likely.
Right.
So just don't want us to forget about the intercontinental flights. This, I think, gets forgotten a lot, but we are actually going to be able to take a rocket from anywhere in the world to the other side of the world in like 45 minutes. It's going to be incredible, and it's going to be fairly inexpensive.
And it's all made possible by reusing the rocket.
Exactly.
That's Elon's whole thing.
And then Lex Fridman said, I think we are not sufficiently creative in imagining what alien life forms could look like. And Elon said,
clearly. I don't know what that's in response to, but he seems pretty mad about it.
Just be careful this week. Take extra close attention to everything around you. Could be an alien.
All right, it's time for community mail time.
So we got a letter here. Hey, Zach and Jesse, we love your show. I'm Zachary, and my wife Carrie and I live up in northern Michigan. This is the first time we've seen a Taycan out in the wild, and it's the 4S. Pretty cool car, but would look way cooler in Frozen Berry. I'd still rather have a Model 3 Performance, an 8.16 kilowatt solar setup, 2 Powerwalls, and a hefty down payment for the dual motor Cybertruck instead. But hey, beggars can't be choosers. Keep up the great work, you two. Well, thank you for that picture of the Taycan.
Yeah.
I agree.
It would look
better.
Maybe. What about the wintergreen?
Frozen berry is a wonderful color.
What were the other colors?
There was the beige.
Come up with any color you want.
There was like coffee, Taycan coffee. I don't know.
Aluminum.
They had so many colors. And then we got Mac in Alberta, Canada.
Hey, Zach and Jesse. It's Mac here from Alberta, Canada. And I'm currently pulled over on the Trans-Canada Highway. And across from me is a solar project that's recently being developed. It's sitting on about 200 acres of land and will be producing about 22 megawatts of electricity once it's all finished. I don't know if you can see, but the panels that are being put up, they are on arrays facing north to south, and they tilt east to west. So that's a new design that I've never seen before in Canada, or Alberta for that matter. So pretty exciting to see that, especially considering Alberta has very cheap energy. We are abundant in oil and gas, and I think that's really cool, and just goes to show that even with cheap oil and gas and cheap energy, a Canadian company is still putting all this money into a place like Alberta, known for their oil and gas, and obviously it must be economical for them to do so, because 22 megawatts, it's not a small project. So pretty cool to see, and a big indicator on the direction that I think the world is moving. So now you know.
Thanks, Mac. Oh, and we got a Tesla plate on a Ford F-150. Don't see that every day.
No.
I guess their next truck is going to be a Cybertruck.
I guess so.
Then we got this letter from Craig. He said, Zach and Jesse and the Now You Know team, I recently took my Model X to Fremont from Ohio for the shareholder meeting. Even though it was canceled, I still managed to charge at the factory in Fremont and design studio in Hawthorne, as well as enjoy the wonder at the national parks in California. Nothing like an EV and nature. Thank you for your channel and sharing your referral, allowing my Model X to have free supercharging for life. 62,000 miles and still going strong. P.S. Enjoy the Tesla cam of the little piggy that did not want to go to market in Iowa. So what's he talking about?
He's talking about this.
Oh, I guess the piggy got out of the truck.
Escape artist, but didn't decide
Why
to
isn't he
run.
running the other direction? Why is he running to the
I don't
truck?
know. He's like, all right.
Run away, piggy. And then Landry writes to inform anyone living in New Jersey who may be thinking about buying an EV that there is a new incentive program for New Jerseyans, up to $5,000 for an EV with a total price of under $55,000. So Landry just got himself a Tesla Model Y and received the full $5,000 check. He says that based on the New Jersey ChargeUp website, they are working towards implementing the discount at purchase, which will probably result in Tesla being able to give the $5,000 back right there on delivery day.
Wow, that would be really helpful, especially you could just put that right into your loan or whatever you're doing to buy your car.
Yeah.
It's great.
All right, it's time for the Patreon poll. What was our question this week?
Our question was a very complicated one.
I can't understand it.
spent a good long time crafting these questions. We're actually getting 3 useful graphs out of this.
Okay.
And so basically the big idea of this poll was, is the supercharger network really superior? So I asked a bunch of questions about this.
Okay.
First, I wanted to know, when you aren't charging at home, but you can charge at home, where are you charging? So we asked, superchargers, other charging stations, but just for convenience, or critical charging at other chargers.
Okay, what was the answer?
So by and large, most people charged up at the superchargers, pretty much nowhere else.
Okay, so that's win number 1.
It's win number 1. Now, there's a lot of convenience charging, because if you're like pulling up to a place and there's a charger, you're like, why not? It's a great parking spot. But most people didn't need other charging networks to get around.
Okay.
The next question was, if you can't charge where you live, where are you, what are you relying on?
Okay.
Most people used basically a mix of Tesla superchargers and other charging networks. There were, it's a very small number of people who don't charge at home.
So was that a win or a loss or a...
I would say that it's kind of a wash.
Okay, wash on that one.
I mean, it's kind of a weird situation. There were only, I think, about 24 people who fell into this category.
Okay.
And then the last one was for long distance trips. Do you use the supercharger network, or do you use other networks? I have to be clear here. This is only for Tesla drivers. So only Tesla drivers should have filled this out.
Okay.
And the results were obviously superchargers.
So win on the first one, wash on the second one, win on the third one.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which I think really points to the strength of the supercharger network. People who drive Teslas are very comfortable going to the supercharger to charge up, and sometimes they'll go to other chargers for convenience sake, but usually not. They don't usually need it.
I think we should do a poll next week that asks how many Tesla owners have never charged at a supercharger.
All right, that'll be the poll. And so if you want to fill out that poll, you can head over to patreon.com/nowyouknow and sign up for just $2 a month. You can answer all the polls and see all the Patreon bonus stories.
All right, it's time for Supercharger Reviews. We are sponsored by our friends at Evannex, the Tesla community's accessory store. Looking for awesome accessories for your Tesla? Then check out Evannex and use our discount code NOWYOUKNOW to save you $10 on purchases over $100.
Hello and welcome to Jamestown, North Dakota. This is a new 8-stall supercharger. It's V3, so 250 kilowatts, right off the highway, really easy to find. And it's in the parking lot of the Buffalo Mall. So there are a handful of stores here, Burger King in the parking lot. There's also some lodging options nearby. And across the freeway is the National Buffalo Museum, where you can see a couple live buffalo and gigantic fake one. There's also a little frontier village there that's kind of pleasant to walk through, just some little shops and things like that. Now that might not be super convenient if you're charging here, because it is across the freeway and down kind of a side road a little bit, so it's not something you could walk to from the supercharger, but it is nearby if you want to extend your stay in Jamestown a little bit. It's kind of neat to see. We enjoyed going over there. If you're passing through at night, this would be a good stop to get some sleep, but if you're not planning on that and you need some snacks or a restroom, there isn't going to be a lot in the immediate area that is going to be open. So like a lot of stops, you're going to need to find a service station or something right off the highway before you get here to fill up with snacks or use the restroom. And there are some places right on this exit, so it's not too far of a stretch if you're running low. So during the day, I'd give this an 8, considering we're in North Dakota and it's right off the highway. There's enough around to get you by, and the mall would be open. At night, I'd probably bump that down to a 6 or 7, because although it's a good place to catch a nap, it's not gonna be real close to anything that's open as far as walkable. And that could be a problem here in the winter where it does get quite cold. Thanks for watching and happy road tripping.
Hey, Zach and Jesse. Out for a bike ride today and stopped by the old log theater in Excelsior, Minnesota. 3 destination chargers, Model 3 charging there. I'm gonna rate this a 9. Keep up the good work. Now you know.
Hi guys, I'm standing at the fairly new supercharger in Denmark, ECAST. We have about 12 stalls here, and then 4 more if they need anything else in the future. And then over here we have McDonald's, and in the background we have a place where you can buy tools and garden stuff. And if you look over here, there we have the motorway, and down the road we'll have some grocery stores. So I would rate this supercharger a 6 out of 10, and if it was located a little bit better, we'll probably get it a 7. Now you know.
Hi Zach and Jesse, this is Josh from TM3 Life YouTube channel. I'm reporting from the Lincoln Supercharger location in Lincoln, New Hampshire. Behind me here is the Riverwalk Hotel on Loon Mountain. And this is a 6-stall station with a pull-in right there. There is trash facilities right there at the side entrance to the hotel. Right now it's very quiet. I'm the only one charging here with my Model 3. There are a lot of eateries around, back that way, over here. There's a great restaurant inside the hotel. There's a winery over to that direction. There are lots of good things around here. It's right off in the Kangamangas, very easy to find. So I'm gonna have to rate this an 8 out of 10. And now you know.
Hi Zach and Jesse, this is Kevin phoning, sending you a message from Leeds. We've got 3 destination chargers and the V3 superchargers. There's 8 there. Tesla are going to be letting the older type Teslas charge there too, I do believe, coming soon. Yeah, I would give this rating probably about a 7 to an 8. There's lots of stalls nearby, lots of chargers, McDonald's, and it's close to Leeds town centre. Yeah, alright, cheers guys, bye.
And speaking of superchargers, check out this supercharger in Senj, Croatia that our friend Daryl sent us. We need a supercharger like this one. Look at the view you'd get at the supercharger. That might be the best view. If I'm wrong, please send us a picture of what you think is the best view at a supercharger location that you've seen, because I'm sure there's others.
It's like a destination supercharger.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, so what do we got for new superchargers this week?
We have the 8-stall version 3 supercharger in Washington, Pennsylvania.
We got the 12-stall 250 kilowatt in Chula Vista, California.
The 8-stall version 3 supercharger in Leeds at White House Street in the UK. And thanks, Kevin, for covering that already.
Yeah. We got number 60 in the UK, the 12-stall 150 kilowatt at Hilton Park, southbound in the UK.
We have the 8-stall version 3 in Peterborough, Ontario.
We got the 8-stall 250 kilowatt in Kremling, Colorado.
California has Canada beat, by the way. 162nd supercharger in California, number 864 in the United States, number 1,927 in the world is the 16 urban supercharger in Los Altos, California. That is pretty amazing.
Pretty good. It's time for the Patreon giveaway. If you want to get in this big barrel of fun, join us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And the more you support us, the more times you get in there, so the more chances of winning. And we're going to be giving away a poster. Hopefully this winner has a Model X, because that would make more sense. But or maybe they're hoping to get one.
You never know.
It's the Model X parking only.
Or
poster.
maybe you have a friend who has one or wants to get one.
Yeah. Or maybe you just don't want someone parking there at all.
Okay. And the winner is Don Morse.
Congratulations, Don. You just got yourself a poster.
And don't worry, if you don't have a Model X or any friends that have one, we put your name back in the bin because you have a chance to win again.
Some of you have written in and asked, where's the flamethrower?
Yeah.
It's usually right there.
Mm-hmm.
Rich, where's the flamethrower?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we let our buddy Rich from Rich Rebuilds borrow it. I'm sure he's off there gallivanting around right now doing up to no good.
Yeah, I'm sure when we hear about the wildfire in one of our, state parks or something, we're gonna go, oh, that was probably Rich.
Then I'll be like, what
What
not
flamethrower?
a flamethrower?
What Patreon bonus story video? We never uploaded that. So
I'm glad you're having fun with it, Rich. But we do need it back for the set.
It's important. Look how barren that looks right there.
So I miss it.
I miss it too.
Plus, how are we going to fight off the zombies if they attack? We don't have the Cybertruck ready. When we get the Cybertruck, we should mount the not a flamethrower on the Cybertruck.
I think that's illegal.
It is? It's not a flamethrower.
I still think it's illegal.
Why?
I think mounting anything that looks like a gun is illegal enough. It's probably not illegal, but most people would call the police about it.
How about a parade? Can we use it in a parade?
I think that if
4th
you
of July
dressed up
parade.
as Starman, so we need Eli to come over with probably his flamethrower, so he could dual wield flamethrowers, dressed as Starman, standing on the back of the Cybertruck
during like a parade.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. We could be shooting off rockets out of the back of it as well. He could be using it to light them on fire or something.
But when we leave the Giga Texas, I bet on the private property of Tesla we could probably pull this off. Like
when it gets built.
Yeah.
That would be, we wouldn't have the Cybertruck at that point because it gets built in that factory.
No, but we'll bring our not a flamethrower there, and we'll meet Eli there.
Okay.
And we'll do it there.
Okay, so Eli, if you're watching,
clear your calendar.
Send this to Eli. Make sure to don't have him watch the whole thing. Just do the thing where you put the timestamp in the link.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Do that. Send that to Eli.
Yeah, because if you send him the whole thing, he'll be like, what am I watching this for?
Right. He might enjoy it, but
maybe.
Don't waste his time. Busy guy. Let's, And hey, thank you for watching the end of the show.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you actually being a part of our community and watching.
Some people have written to me and asked how to get their names to flow by here.
Yes, these are people who support us at the $5 level on Patreon. These people make this show possible. We can't do it without them. You can also support us for more on Patreon if you'd like.
Yeah, you get a bigger name.
Get a bigger name, and we want it to be exciting and fun for everybody. And we can't do the show without them. It just doesn't work. So thank you for keeping the lights on. Thank you for keeping us motivated to doing the show every single week for 205 weeks in a row. Is this 3 years, 5 years? What
208 will be 4 years.
So close.
Yeah, 208 is going to be exciting.
3 more weeks, and that'll be 5 years in a row?
4 years in a row.
4 years in a row?
You're good with math.
Forget. I don't know.
You take 52, you divide it into 208, you get 4 years. Yeah. Crazy.
That is crazy.
We have to make it, though.
Have you ever done anything every week for 4 weeks? 4 years? For 4 years? Have you done that? Anything? Eat,
right.
Sleep,
please comment below.
Go to the bathroom. Those things don't count.
Don't count those. But whatever you've done that's beyond those for 4 years in a row every week, please put in the comments below. I'd love to read about it.
Doesn't have to be at the same time every week. Although we've changed. We've changed. When did we record this? We always recorded on Sunday.
But it always came out on Monday.
Nope. Sometimes it came out on Tuesday. When we first started doing it, Brent and Bobby needed so much time to edit. They're so good at editing.
Yeah.
So pay them, people.
Yeah.
They're so good at editing. So please help support us so that way we can, help them, because this is great. Thank you so much for watching.
Now
I'm going to go to bed. Now you know.